It was one of those things that, so I came to town and I told my wife, it's probably going to take 4 years. It's kind of like going to college. You're going to have to meet people. You're going to have to build up your resume. And so I got lucky, and in 2 years I had a top 5 record with Headed for a Heartache. And about the same time I got 6 or 7 other songs recorded like in a 2-week period. And I thought, this is really easy. Why didn't I come earlier? But then I kind of went through a spell where country music was going through this switch from urban cowboy to the Randy Travis country, Alabama. And so things were changing. And so I was writing for some different companies, getting cuts, but not big singles or anything. So I started a recording studio because I could play a lot of instruments. And so I started doing demos for other writers and doing my own demos. And that's how I started meeting all these people that would become famous artists, because they all wanted to sing demos. Because in Nashville back in the 80s, there wasn't any Instagrams and Facebooks and all the things that artists have to do these days. It was just kind of word of mouth. And so in my demo studio, I was using people like Billy Dean at Faith Hill and Trisha Yearwood and Martina McBride, and none of them could get record deals.
That's amazing.
And so that's how I met Garth, because he was cleaning churches and selling boots. And he thought, well, maybe I could make more money singing demos than cleaning churches and selling boots. And so he came over and he played me a cassette. You don't remember cassettes.
I do remember cassettes.
And I said, yeah, I'll start using you on some demos. And so that's how we met. We became friends. And at the time, you know, he didn't have a record deal. He didn't have really anything going on. But when he was leaving that very first day, his manager who came with him, Bob Doyle, said, well, Garth writes a little bit too. So we set up a time to write, and we wrote, the first song together was If Tomorrow Never Comes. And we pitched it around town for about a year, and we pitched Garth around town for about a year, and people said, nobody's gonna sign a guy named Garth. You know, can you hear a DJ saying, that's Garth? No, he's not gonna get a record deal. Nobody wanted our song. And so one night he got to sing one song at the Bluebird Cafe. Somebody from Capitol Records was in the audience to hear somebody else, and when they heard Garth do that song, they said, I know we passed on you for the 3rd time this week, but maybe we missed something, come back in. So he got his record deal, and If Tomorrow Never Comes ended up being his 2nd single and his first #1. The day that Garth came in, I was sitting on the couch, and I didn't know him. I didn't know who he was, whatever. He had just played me a tape a few months before. And he came in, and at the time he was wearing these big, long leather dusters and a big cowboy hat, big cowboy boots. And he looked like he was 8 feet tall. And so I was sitting in the couch. He was standing up above me, and he says, I got this song I've run by 25 writers, and nobody likes it. And I kind of looked up at him and said, gee, thanks. And he kind of got a little testy, you know. And so he said, well, don't you want to hear the song? And I said, well, yeah, play me what you got. And so he played me what he had, and he said, what's wrong with it? And I said, well, you're killing off the star in the first line of the song, and it's kind of like killing off the star of the movie in the first 3 minutes. There's really nowhere to go. And he said, well, what would you do? And so I told him, and he says I spit the whole thing out, which may be true because I had the lyric out the other day because somebody wanted to take a picture of it. And he wrote the whole first verse of the song down on the bottom of the lyric, and then I wrote the chorus and the 2nd verse on the top, and he's never written down another lyric since we've ever written together. So I know it must be true. But we wrote it for our wives, you know, just kind of saying how we felt about them. We thought we had a great song at the end of the day, and Garth went up to my studio and he did a guitar vocal, which Garth and a guitar can't be too bad. And like I said, we pitched it around town, and nobody was really interested in the song. And so we were getting ready to rewrite the song, and because we thought there must be something wrong with it if nobody's recording it. And that's when that little miracle of the Bluebird happened, where he got to go play that song the same week we were going to rewrite it, and it
Magic.
changed everything.
Yeah. If Tomorrow Never Comes must have hit home pretty hard several years ago, and God took you through another journey when your wife was diagnosed with cancer. Tell me about that time and your faith and how God pulled you through that.
I don't know exactly how to put this, but we both have a lot of faith, and we really approached her death differently than a lot of people did. A lot of people would come to the house and go, "It's so peaceful here." But I think it was because we knew, there's something more out there. There's a way bigger world waiting, and that made it easier. There was no fear involved, no anger. It was pretty amazing, and it was funny that if tomorrow never comes, kind of predicted.